former chief executive Andy Martin will not have to contribute to the independent review into the conduct and culture of New Zealand football that was launched on Friday. But NZ Football President Derek Shaw says he understands it is likely Martin will be involved. Despite his resignation last week, Shaw later admitted that was based on second-hand information. The appointment of a reviewer, employment lawyer Philippa Muir, and the announcement of her terms of reference, came more than 2 weeks after it was initially set to consider the environment of the football ferns under coach Andreas Heraf, following complaints from players and former staff member about his conduct, but its scope has since expanded. The terms of reference for the review, said NZ Football, has received a number of written complaints which raise allegations about the conduct of NZF people. Martin is understood to be one of those people. The terms of reference call on Muir to find whether any of those allegations can be substantiated, then to determine whether any workplace bullying, inappropriate workplace conduct or behavior, or breaches of the NZ Football Code of Conduct have taken place. Regardless of whether any allegations are substantiated, Muir will also assess what NZ Football knew about them and when, and whether the organisation's response was adequate and appropriate. NZ Football President Derek Shaw would not confirm complaints had been received about anyone other than Heraf, who remains on special leave from his roles as Football Ferns coach and national technical director while the review takes place. It's really for the reviewer to make any comments about it at this particular point, Shaw said. We've essentially pushed the button on the review and now the review will take its course. If people have matters they wish to raise, there's an independent email address, reviewer@nzfootballreview.co.nz. They can make contact with current staff members, former staff members, people that may have had an involvement with New Zealand football. If they wish to be involved in the review, we certainly encourage them to do so. There will be plenty of interest in whether Martin is involved, given that he has been in charge at NZ Football for the past 4 years. We understand that he's likely to make himself available for it, said Shaw, but that's really a matter for him to determine. Martin's resignation was confirmed by NZ Football last Friday. Muir is a senior partner at law firm Simpson Grierson, and heads its employment law group. She is expected to present her report and recommendations to the NZ Football Executive Committee by the end of August. NZ Football will provide Muir with all the assistance and materials she needs in order to conduct the review. The Executive Committee has offered to waive any confidentiality agreements signed by former staff in order to allow them to contribute. While Muir will compile a summary of her findings, only the outcomes and recommendations of her review will be made public. It will be up to the NZ Football Executive Committee to determine any penalties, if allegations against any of its employees or officials are substantiated during the review. NZ Football is currently without a chief executive following Martin's resignation, and Shaw said the process of appointing one would not begin until the review was complete. It's not appropriate, because if there are changes we need to make at New Zealand football, we'll be making those changes ahead of a person coming in, or we might ask that person to look at those elements. An interim chief executive is expected to be appointed in the next fortnight.